Monday Mornings with Matt and Kevin. These two will debate real-life issues from a Catholic perspective every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Make the world Catholic again.
Good Monday morning to you all, and I'm going to tell you it's about to get better. I just imagine you're sitting there drinking your wonderful cup of coffee, and you're waiting to finally hear the two voices that you've missed for the last couple of weeks, because Matt and I have not been on together for a while. It's been a couple of weeks. It is, Matt, it seems like it's always the case. If we miss 1 week, then we missed a couple of weeks. It's just how it is.
Apart.
But we're back.
Right.
There was no brawl. We're still buddies. Yeah, it does. It falls apart quickly. But no, it's good to see it. Good to see Matt. Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good, Kev. I'm good. Now everyone is gonna have to excuse my my new accent and my lisp, because I got braces, as I told you before the show. So I got some braces to help fix my bite, and now I can't say words like S words and coffee, like just some words I catch that it makes me sort of not self-conscious. I don't really care that much, but like makes me aware that I'm speaking not in my normal tone. So I don't know. I maybe I hear it more than you hear it on your end, but it's quite annoying.
Yeah, it's okay.
So
no,
I appreciate our listeners.
Like it hurts. Yeah.
It does hurt. It does hurt. Yeah. So my teeth are pretty straight, and I'm good in that department. And my bite is just, I have a bit of an overbite. So which means your front teeth don't, I guess you're supposed to, when you bite down, your front teeth are barely supposed to cover your bottom teeth. Like you're doing it now. You're pretty good. Mine go a bit too far over. So they're putting braces on to just, to pull it back. And they guess the price of all this. Take a guess. Throw a number.
$10K.
Oh, a little less. $7,000.
$7K.
Just to look cool. Yeah. Oh. And part of my job requires, I can't say this word, requires that I talk all day. And so it's been a bit of a challenge. It's good. The good thing though is that I can't really chew well. I can't eat well, and we're just about a week or so away from Lent, which meaning my fasting is going to be a lot easier this year. Like I'm just going to be used to eating soup and scrambled eggs and Jello. Like I'm pre-Lenting already.
Hey, so I hope you're not a fan of gum or anything.
I am only to get rid of the taste in your mouth.
Yeah,
that sometimes you get from eating certain foods or
coffee or
certain drinks. Yeah. And now you can. I'm not going to risk it, because if you break your bracket, then you have to have it fixed, and more time is required with braces on, and it could hurt. So I can just suck on the gum. I can put it on my tongue and just kind of get the flavor. What's your favorite gum, by the way? If you had to go buy a pack of gum, what would you grab? I have an immediate answer to that.
Yeah, Germany doesn't have the same gum, but I used to like
gum people.
I used to like Wrigley's.
Yeah,
was like my favorite.
Spearmint. Yeah, that. And do you like Juicy Fruit?
Yeah, as a kid, I loved bubble gum.
As a kid, yeah.
And as an adult, not
the Fruit Stripes one, the flavor that lasts 10 seconds.
Oh,
that one is that one's pretty good. I don't think they make that gum anymore. I think that one went out of business. But yeah, so you have to excuse my lack of speaking, and all good things come to an end. There's a funny quote that expresses that very well, and I can't think of it now. But yeah, every now and then a wire will catch my cheek while I talk, and it just hooks. I have a massive slice of gum just flapping around my inner cheek. So every now and then that happens when I speak. But I am not to make a joke, but I'm not. Yes, this is a great. Can this be my penance? Any priest listening? Is this my penance for Lent, or do I have to give up something else? Because this has been quite a, especially sleep. I need a good 7-8 hours a night. Like if I don't get that, I feel weird the next day.
Good thing you don't have kids.
So now I'm just I know.
No, I'm kidding. Actually,
yeah, right. No, that is
true. My wife does all the work at night. I actually can't complain. I almost
she's got the night shift. Yeah. That's great.
She does. Well, yeah, she does. I mean, I do with the two older ones, if they scream or something, I go, but the babies are always with the wife, which is I recommend it, everybody. That's a whole other topic. Well, I'll have to have my wife on sometime about that. About
co-sleeping. You should.
Interesting topic.
I have. What's funny is my friend is very much pro co-sleeping, and the doctor that she was going to at the time warned her, like, you can't do that. That's extremely dangerous. And she was like, no, it's like my instinct to do this. And then they found another doctor who is far more, I guess you could say, pro-family, or I hate to use the word trad. I don't know what you would even call it, but she was like, no, that's a terrific practice. So I think it's a good idea, personally.
It's very debatable.
Who am I to
judge?
I
can tell you, for us, it's been fantastic.
Yeah. So should we
everyone can probably tell that we have a bit of a lag. So if you hear me,
it is very strange.
Yeah, exactly. You hear me and Matt talking over each other's because my stupid idiot. Apologies for that. We'll do our best to not talk over each other. Matt, I guess I'll send it to you. I think interesting. We're as Matt said before, I always tell everyone we're not recording this on Monday. We're recording this time actually on Saturday. And just before we came on the show, we started to get news that it is right, exactly, that Bergoglio is very possibly on death's door. Maybe not. He's very ill. He's in the hospital. And I do say, I really mean it, everyone should pray for him. As I said on Twitter, I think of him like I think of a mass murderer. I pray for him
of souls, which is worse.
Yeah, exactly. And his soul, and that his soul does not get damned for eternity, because I don't want that on anyone. I also want him gone from this world. And I think, yeah, exactly, he is a mass murderer of souls. So I guess, Matt, I don't know, what are your thoughts on
Bergoglio? Well, I actually said I think we at the end of 2024 we did a show on our upcoming predictions, and I said that Bergoglio was not going to survive the year, and obviously he's still alive as of this. Yeah. Any other predictions you need, Kev? I'm here if you need anything else.
Nostradamus.
The crystal ball is on today, but I think. As of this recording right now, he's in critical condition. It reminded me of Queen Elizabeth, because her final hours, I remember turning on the news and seeing from CBS, the AP, even CNN, whatever, all of these headlines saying Queen Elizabeth is now in critical condition. And she passed later on, 8-9 hours later. So kind of eerie, similar headlines we're seeing now as of this afternoon on Saturday from all of the media outlets about him. I don't personally, again, I'm not there. I'm no doc. I have no more information than anybody else, but I don't think he is with us much longer. I think he is probably on his way out. And that leads me to, obviously everybody's going to have their eyes on the conclave and where we go from there. And there's a lot of discussion on Twitter, especially amongst in Italy. It is a hot topic for the gossip in the streets to be who's next to have the white smoke. There's somebody. It's been going around. Yeah, it's been going around Twitter of a sort of like a color. I can't say that word now. Colorful chart about the most progressive cardinals all the way to the most liberal cardinals, and how palpable they're considered. And it kind of makes this analogy that, or this suggestion that most of the electorate is quite conservative, which is pretty funny. That is not true at all. Were you going to comment again? We have
it all depends on. Yeah, it all depends on the where you're setting the limits. What is conservative, what is liberal, and if you're someone who thinks that a woman should be the next pope afterwards, then, and that is the far left, then yeah, okay, sure. Everyone else is probably going to be conservative, because that's probably one or two cardinals.
Here's the point that I'd like to make. Our good friend Christian Wagner, who is a fairly large account on Twitter, I guess you can call him a Novus Ordo apologist, made a tweet suggesting that Cardinal Ranjith of Sri Lanka, who's quite air quotes conservative, is considered palpable, and he was in 2013. And I actually, back then, I supported him. He was my choice, and if we can even have choices, but he was my preference. And he made this post saying that, why is everybody like downcast and all that? Ranjith is a prime candidate to be to succeed Bergoglio, and he has made it a law in his diocese to ban female altar servers. And I thought, that's our standard.
Yeah, right.
That's it. Exactly. If we're at that position, that's the trad position now. Like that is so. Just as to what you were saying, like what is even conservative anymore? Like that is where we're going with this.
Well, let me set it on the other end of this, because my wife actually brought it up. I think that we started talking about the kind of like the thesis, and so the thesis being, okay, Bergoglio is going to die, so he's almost certainly not going to be the one who, fulfills the thesis, that the Pope converts and becomes the Pope. Sure. The Pope elect becomes you know what I mean? So the question, my question, and this is an interesting question, is what would that take for me? This is purely my opinion, everybody. Who that could be elected and then convert, and I would actually immediately buy it. Now, we don't have to get into the thesis, but I mean,
it's a good question. It's a very good.
Not a thesis holder, but I mean, I certainly don't poo-poo it. I don't say it's stupid. I think it's interesting, and I would certainly, if even Bergoglio said, "Hey, I am now truly Catholic and burned all the blah blah blah," yeah, I would definitely consider it. But the question being, who could it be who actually would? And I would say it would have to be Vigano. It couldn't be Burke. It would actually have to be someone, because Vigano is actually consecrated validly.
I was going to say, I don't know if, I mean, you have your Sarahs, your Burkes, and all of that, but I think of the potential candidates who could actually do that, to actually overthrow Vatican II and whatnot. I don't think they're amongst the College of Cardinals now. I think no. I think Burke and Sarah profess the same religion as Bergoglio and Tegel and all of them. So there's a great disillusion here. I think there are men out there who can do it. I think there are certainly maybe even bishops out there who can do it in the Novus Ordo land. But I don't think that any of them exist out there now. And that kind of leads me to the question, as I've talked to some people who adhere to the thesis, who do you want to see as the successor of Bergoglio? Because do you see somewhat of a light in Burke or Sarah, or in that sort of sense, in the sense that we get another Benedict who may be, or do you want it to go really bad again with a Zuppi or a Tagal or something like that? And personally, were you going to say something?
No, I was going to say exactly what you said. If it's Burke, it's just going to be Ratzinger. It's just going to be the same thing. You get the bells and the smells, and everything else is going to stay exactly the same.
Yeah. Because people have asked me, I use that loosely, and not like I'm getting a million requests a day, but I've had a person or two ask me, who would you prefer? Who do you think is better? And of it all, I still go with the radical liberals in my preference. I do not want a Burke or a Sarah, simply because it would be a far greater deception to a lot of people, and I don't see them as being somebody who can fulfill the thesis of having the title to the papacy, converting to the Catholic faith, and gaining the title of being a true pope. So I do hope that it does stick with the Tagals and who's the art of kissing, the Castry of faith, whatever. He's got a chance as well. So it'll be interesting. 85% of the electorate is Bergoglio's choosings, handpicked. So I don't see.
Oh man!
So I don't see anyone on that right wing spectrum having a chance. But
that's good. It's a good thing. I guess. I think like you said. I mean, and it's an interesting question. Like again, people have asked, or you ponder these things, as it comes to his likely end. Is he the worst anti-pope of all time? and it's like, okay,
well,
actually not. I think I would have to give it to Pope, quote unquote, Pope John Paul II, because I think he was the one who really truly carried that flame of the evils of Vatican II and spread it to way more people. And Francis, if anything, he's actually turned people to tradition, if anything.
No, that's true. John Paul II catapulted, I guess you can say, the papacy onto the world stage, right? Because there is something to say. The whole mindset of like, oh, well, back then the people didn't know what the Pope was doing, which is a huge lie and a huge deception. But there is something to be said about that. It wasn't. John Paul II became a media superstar, and the Pope didn't have that sort of attention back then. You know, of course he was known, and everybody who was Catholic and non-Catholic knew his name and knew what he was up to, and knew his teachings in a lot of ways. But John Paul II made a celebrity out of the whole thing, and things changed too with media. You know, in the 78 it was, I think 78. You know, the media with television and broadcasting, and now the internet. We see these men in a totally different way than people would have in the past, which is true. But yeah, I would agree that the Bergoglio is not as bad as John Paul II, because they profess the same thing. And Bergoglio has driven more people out in a good way than John Paul II kept in.
And so here's a question for you then. And I agree with you. I think they're going to elect someone like Tagle, someone like that who's very nice, very smiley, very gay, you know. And I think if they do that, and this is a serious question if we have any R&R people listening, and I know there might be, and maybe some Benevacantists out there too. If they do elect a young leftist nut
for the next 80 years,
are going to do your spiel for the next 30?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The next, because Tagle is what, 50 or something, or 60?
He's quite young.
So
he's quite
you're
young.
looking at 20 years. You're looking at a likely a long time of this gay moron, you know, in the robes in the Vatican, and if that, I mean, the fact that you stay with him now is insanity. But I do think a lot of it is because they have that hope. They're like, yeah, but the one after Francis, God, you know, God's going to send us a miracle, and he's going to send us. It's like, guys, it's not going to change, because it's not the church. It's not the church, because you know, they broke away from the church, you know, at Vatican II, or after, you know, whenever it was. And I think it's an interesting question. What's going to happen? Are they finally going to say, okay, enough, there's no Pope?
I think it depends. I think I think different crowds will go different ways. I think you will have many of them just dig their heels in and continue resisting him to his face, as they've kind of portray themselves to be throughout probably the rest of a lot of these people's lives. You know, they're going to have, as you said, if Tagle is elected, he might be, quote unquote, the Pope for a majority of these people's lives. We're looking at 40 years now of a potential. So I do think you'll have a lot of resistors who are just ready to, you know, stay in their rooms, pray their rosary, read their catechisms, and do all those things, which is a good act of piety, but totally contrary to the Catholic faith and the Catholic Church of private devotions and just staying in your room and not worshiping with the church. The Mass is an act of the church. It's not a private devotion, and so these things are professed publicly out in the open. So to just pretend that, you know, you have to hide away and pray your rosary and all that, again, a good act of piety, sure, but nothing like that is Catholic at all. But I do think you'll have your groups too that they create sort of an SSPX-ism. I think I don't know if it'll be of the SSPX. I think the SSPX are pretty content of running their parallel church to Rome. But I do think there will be another group that somehow, some way does break off and does try to do their own thing, because they'll be insufferable. But I think a lot of what you're saying is true, that people think they're riding out Francis. We had a great time with John Paul, with Benedict. We're riding out 10 or so bad years, and we'll just be okay after that. But if it's not someone of their choosing, because of course the semi-trad is the judge of the Pope, then they will just do what they need to do in order to maintain the Catholic faith, totally forgetting that the Pope is the proximate rule of faith in the church, the principal sign of unity, as the magisterium teaches. You cannot have Catholicism apart from the Pope. It's a ridiculous claim. So it'll be very interesting to see.
It brings up, I saw a post on Twitter, I think it was LifeSite News, and I generally actually like them for a Novus Ordo media. And they say we need to pray for the conversion of Pope Francis.
Yes.
And it's just like, and I posted I don't know if you know the Princess Bride, you know, that word, I don't think it means what you think it means. It's like what the Pope can't I mean, what are we dumb here? I mean, I don't want to get into it. I got to calm down. Like I say, I think they're typically, I find them to be intellectually honest. I think they don't typically bash Sades. So I'm usually okay with them, but it's like that's just a really silly thing to say. I mean, come on, that you can't say we need to pray for the Pope's conversion.
Mm.
We and Matt, you and I go back to this topic a lot, but they don't understand the papacy, and so they don't understand the church
Mm.
at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Um, again, convert to what? And that is the main question here, because it suggests that Francis and say Pius X had different religions, which is impossible. The Pope of the
Exactly.
Catholic Church, the Vicar of Christ, does not have different faiths. It is, as you very well know, it is one faith. It is one church. It is one supreme teacher. And if we're going to start praying for the Pope's conversion, why doesn't Pius X need to convert to Francis's religion? Well, why not? Because they're two distinct religions. So why doesn't just Pius the 12th or Pius the 10th or Gregory the 16th or whomever need to convert to one pope is not greater than the other. One pope does not have superior authorities, and they all have equal supreme but equal authority over the church. So what's even happening here? And yeah, it's a very poor Gallicanist outlook of the papacy, which he's more so he's like the Queen Elizabeth or King Charles, a figurehead. He looks nice. He wears the vestments. He has the tiara on. He carries his golden staff. He looks good, and we just kind of leave him at that. That, of course, is not what the Pope is at all. And I had to learn that myself. And it took, it's what led me to the position that I adhere to now, because I actually had to look at what the papacy is, because I believed all that. I believed that he was, a figurehead, and, he's great and he's good. And it's nice to have him, but, it doesn't really affect me. And that is completely contrary to 2,000 years of Catholic belief and teaching and positioning from St. Peter. And there's a great quote, I believe it was from Leo the 13th. Maybe I could be wrong, but I believe it was Leo the 13th. And the Vatican put out this quote from Leo the 13th saying that it was Peter speaking through Leo the 13th, to suggest that the papacy is really truly one voice, which is why in a lot of the letters the popes write, or when they give their blessing, they say we give our benediction, because the Pope is acting as Peter, not my benediction but our benediction, because they're teaching as supreme pontiff that one beautiful office from Peter until Pius the 12th. Of having this one voice of the Roman pontiff, who is the visible head of the church, with Christ being the invisible head, uniting themselves as just one head of the church. It's beautiful teaching, and to think that Bergoglio and Christ are one is more than cringe. It's blasphemous. And that people say all these things. Sedevacantism is cringe. Have you had your eyes open? I can show you a lot of cringe. A real lot of cringe.
Yeah. No, amen to that. Well, let's spend a couple minutes, Matt, talking about American politics. I'm just curious, how do you feel like living in America? Do you feel a total vibe change? Is like,
yes.
You feel like, hey, this is a different world right now. I mean, I even feel it a little bit over here. It's kind of like, I feel like this is not the same world it was a year ago or a month ago. Pretty cool.
I stopped at a coffee shop, not too far from here, but a ways away, which I've been to in the past. And it's your typical coffee shop where you would expect to see green-haired they-thems walking around, filling the seats up with their crazy pronouns attached to their shirts and their earrings and all of that. And I walked in, and it was a very normal crowd. And I said to myself, the they thems are not here. Like, they're gone. Like there's been a shift. So you can actually, I don't know how to put it into words other than, like there is just a different feel of patriotism here in America. There is this pride that I think we haven't seen in quite a long time, and just this newfound love of our country, which is a good thing.
It's a very good thing. It's a virtuous thing. Again, we've talked about it a lot, and it was like you and I loved the hockey fight the other day, and Canada ended up winning, and then Canada was very proud of it, and I was like, hey, good. That's the point. be proud of it. I mean, I'm not saying that only Americans can be proud of their hockey teams. It was a good thing that happened, and it was a proud moment of beating them up. And I think that, I know
Yeah, I
that's
agree.
controversial, but I still stand by it that it was just good to see men saying, "Hey, you're not going to boo my anthem. You boo my anthem, and I'm going to have to punch you in the face."
Yeah.
And if it's going to be
Yeah.
anyone, it should be hockey players because they punch each other in the face anyway. And it worked. It was like
They
it was the
do.
right situation. It was the right time for the fight. And it was, as you said, you could feel the shift. And it was right after JD Vance gave that speech in Munich, where it was like, holy cow,
Oh,
man. I
that
mean,
what a speech. What
man,
a
we
speech.
we have an actual man as our vice president. I mean, a dude that, like, man, Matt, I'm gonna tell you right now, I would go to war for JD Vance. I'm serious. Like, how I
He
feel about Trump, I don't know. Vance, as far as what I've seen him in the last month, I would go to war for that guy.
he spoke of the Catholic faith
Yes, saving our
recently.
souls.
Yes, he spoke of authentic masculinity a few days later. And I am just originally I was not the biggest fan. I thought that Trump sort of missed the boat a bit in picking him. I warmed up to him as I listened to a few interviews, and now I have just truly been a big supporter of his. And I think that he is a prime example of a good politician. I think he truly is a great example. Not perfect, he has
No.
some positions that are not at all where we would want them to be, but he's young, he is smart as a whip.
Whoa.
He understands the global situation very well. He's an enemy of globalism. He has spoken quite eloquently about the issues that face Europe and Germany more specifically, and has done so in a very convincing, articulate, intelligent, well put together manner. And it's so refreshing to hear over these groups of people like Kamala, who doesn't know what she's talking about, and Biden stumbling over 5 words.
Yeah, and I mean, he did that whole speech without a teleprompter. That was just like that was
Because he
him.
can.
Yeah, that was him just talking. It was like, man, since when have we seen that? What I mean, even Trump can do it without teleprompter, but most of them he does these days is with a teleprompter, which probably is a good thing, honestly, in his
I
case. But
think
man, it's awesome to see just someone going up there and using their brain and their wit and their charm and just laying it out there. Oh man, I love it.
I think a difference between the two is like Trump has a very broad knowledge of a lot of things. You can bring up any topic you want to him, and
True.
he knows what you're talking about. But he's not extremely deep in it. He has a surface level understanding, I think, of pretty much anything, whether it be Ukraine, taxes, tariffs, or cheeseburgers. He has knowledge of it and can talk about it. But Vance has this in-depth capability of analyzing and assessing and understanding in a very deep manner a lot of global situations facing the world today, and they're a perfect pair for one another. And I think Ann Coulter, who I've both loved and have been very critical of, said the Trump we voted for in 2016 is now governing our country. And I think he was in a lot of ways over his head in 2017. Not over in his head that like he couldn't handle it, because he's a great businessman, and he is a very unique individual himself. But I think he didn't know a lot of the inner workings of how to get stuff done, who to get stuff done with and through. And now he has learned a lot of the tricks of the trade and has just taken the bull by the horns and just governed well. And he actually made a point. Just one more thing I wanted to mention quick. I don't know if you saw this, but they asked him about the German elections coming up, and he said he was problems. Like they're having elections. We got our own issues here, which I admire about that, because like there's so much chaos and nonsense going on here that our mindset as Americans should be America. And I think, and I've been trying to get him on this show, no success yet, but I think Ron Paul was a great voice in that argument, and I think we see a lot of it in President Trump.
Yeah, and on the flip side, I love how Vance comes to Munich right before the elections, which are sorry, we're recording this for Monday, so they would have been on Sunday,
right?
So
yeah, right.
Yeah, tomorrow. they're tomorrow for us, yeah, and I thought that was really amazing. He came here, and I thought he just stood up like a man and said, "Hey, look, Europe, we know that you're messing around with elections. We just saw it in Romania." You're making it messing around, and just so you know, we know you're messing around, and you want to continue to be our ally. you better make sure this is a fair election. And he didn't say it, but you listen, you read between the lines of what he was saying. Dude was shooting. He was shooting a shot. I mean, he was like, yeah, we see what you're doing here, and he just pretty much spanked out of Europe and said, hey, you guys are ants, and we're not going to stand it anymore. Figure it out.
He did that with them all sitting there, which is my favorite thing of all. Like similar to Trump, in his inaugural speech, with Kamala and Biden and Hillary and all them, sitting to his left. Vance did that with all of the leaders sitting right there before him, and I think and you don't see it in the mainstream media, just like there are a lot of lies about America that air in Britain or in other parts of Europe that are not true. There's a great misrepresentation of people out in Europe as well, because I've talked to a few of them, you being one of them, who says there is patriotism here. There are people who agree with Trump and side with Trump and admire the message that Vance gave to our leaders the other day. So it's not as I think America, quite honestly, I think America is in much better shape than most of Europe. But
for sure.
Yes, Europe is, I don't want to say a lost cause, but they talk about having enough problems. They're quite in their own hole over there. But I don't know if it's as dire as a lot of people believe. I do think there is a wave of patriots. And I was talking, we brought up earlier, Brittany Pettibone Sellner said that she doesn't think who has the chance that people want
the AFD.
Yeah. She said they don't have really much of a chance. She believed for tomorrow, but in the future, she said in the future, they'll have a much bigger shot in the future because just the wave of momentum that we see happening. So
agreed. And if Trump and Vance continue to see success, the AFD is just going to need to ride those coattails. They're just going to need to say, "Yep, see guys, everything they're doing over there, that's what we're doing." And the Germans are going to be like, "Hey, guys, our country sucks and America is doing well. Maybe we should kind of, consider being like them."
I think you're going to see a lot of JD Vance and friends like him for a very long time. I don't want to say the Democrat Party is dead, but the Democrat Party is all but dead. They're in very dire straits right now. And I think the message of Vance and his team resonates with a lot of people and young people. And I think that message is not going anywhere anytime soon. And I think you're going to see it's a new America, because that era of Clinton, Obama, Pelosi is gone, and it's not coming back.
I agree. Okay,
our delay, Kev, it's kind of like the weather. It's kind of like the weather, where I say, Kev, how is it out there on the streets, and it takes you 20 seconds to respond. It's kind of like the news.
It is terrible.
But yes, a member of the Catholic Family Podcast is calling.
Yep, exactly. But last comment. What do you think? I just saw that RFK Jr. is pulling the CDC.
Yes, I saw that
vaccine for influenza.
And there's no meeting anymore. There is no meeting. There's no commercialization. No, that's a poor choice of word. Advertising of the vaccine for the flu for this upcoming year. So good, get it off. He's right. He's absolutely right.
Awesome, Matt. As always, appreciate it, my friend. Best of luck with your teeth.
Yes, sir. 2 years. 2 years in the making.
Oh man,
I think it did okay for 30-ish minutes. I think it did all right. Held up.
You did great. I wouldn't have noticed. Okay, we'll see. Well, everyone in the comments, let us know. Did Matt sound like he has marbles in his mouth? If so, then give us a thumbs up as well. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and hopefully we'll be back next week, and we might just be talking about a potential conclave. If there is a conclave, I would consider flying to Rome. That would be so interesting. Probably wouldn't happen, but I would consider it. So if anyone wants me to fly to Rome for a conclave, even though, guys, I understand they're not going to elect a true pope, but it would be interesting anyway. Let me know if you would like me to go to Rome and report on the fake conclave.
Wow.
Yeah, I might just do it.
That'd be great.
I better talk to my wife first about it. Possible. Awesome. Great, Matt. Till next week, everyone else, we'll see you then.